Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. In today's video, we are covering the teams that have the most cap space entering this offseason. There's a really good collection of teams with some young talent with the ability to drastically improve their roster. Now, I'm going to be going through these top 5 teams, and let me know in the comment section below who you think they should be signing with the money that they do have. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. Also, leave a like on today's video if you did enjoy the content. Now, with number 1, we have the Orlando Magic. $26 million in projected cap space. Now, this is not what they have currently, but with some of the moves that they are projecting through Spot Track, they see this being about a $26 million opening for them heading into the offseason. And when you look at the Orlando Magic, they have a really nice collection of young talent. Obviously, Franz Wagner, you have Markel Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero. So I think this is a really good group that they have as a core. Now, the Orlando Magic has to kind of figure out what do they want to do to supplement the talent on this team. You have also the likes of Wendell Carter as well. So that's not a guy we should be forgetting. What's going to be their decision on Mo Bamba, a guy that was obviously highly sought after out of the University of Texas. His career didn't start exactly how people thought it would. However, this past season, he proved he's a valuable commodity in this league. So I think when you look at the Orlando Magic, they have a lot that they can do to obviously better their roster. I think when you look at their nucleus, they're definitely on their way to getting better and better and potentially into playoff contention eventually here. However, they have to make some key decisions on what they're going to do with Jonathan Isaac and, what are they going to do with Mo Bamba. These are the big critical pivot point decisions that they are faced with this offseason. So hopefully they're able to kind of navigate that and make the correct moves to spring towards playoff contention. The next team is the Detroit Pistons. Obviously with them landing Cade Cunningham last year, this is a true franchise changer for the Detroit Pistons. This is a guy that can do a lot of different things very, very well. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. He's a good playmaker. He can score. He's a perfect build around player. And how did they complement him? Well, they go ahead and bring in Jaden Ivey during the draft. This was a phenomenal selection by the Detroit Pistons. He fell to their lap with their draft pick, and they did not even think twice about it. Jaden Ivey was the selection. These two can really coexist. They have $25 million of projectable cap space heading into the offseason. Once again, a lot of different ways that they can kind of supplement this roster. This is a team I feel is well on their way. Drafting Duren as well or trading for Duren was a big thing for them. I think when you look at what Detroit's been able to do so far through, the draft process, that was absolutely huge. And where does Killian Hayes kind of fit into the mix? That's a big question I have this offseason. Is there a real future for him? Obviously, the former lottery selection has not exactly been what they had hoped, but they did know going into it, this is a project player. There was really nobody saying, oh, he's going to be a star right away in this league. He's a project player. So maybe he's able to kind of turn it around. Who really knows what the future is going to look like there for Killian Hayes, but adding Duren and Ivy, and you also have Cade Cunningham in the mix. This is a team that can do a lot of different things. They can get creative this offseason, bring in some more young talent. With a lot of these teams, they're able to take in veterans and then go ahead and buy them out. And I think that's, what's going to be the case for some of them. They're going to be able to pick up additional assets in terms of, they'll take in these players. And something that's really nice for these teams is they have the luxury to do so. There's not a lot of teams in the league that currently have, positive cap space heading into the offseason. And, with these teams and their projectables, they very well could take in a bad contract or two in order to kind of springboard their assets. They go ahead and buy these players out, and then they're kind of on their way. Now we have the Indiana Pacers, and you look at the Indiana Pacers, I think this is a fun team. I definitely do. Rick Carlisle is the head coach, and, they obviously acquired Tyrese Halliburton last year. Honestly, I think this is a team that's trying to figure out, where they really sit in the grand scheme of things. I like the Ben Mathurin pick as well. I think when you look at the $24 million that they have to offer heading into the offseason, this is a really, really good opportunity for them to get better. I think this is a team that's been, kind of the fringe contenders in terms of, making a push in the Eastern Conference to jump into that postseason. But They got a long ways to go in terms of, where they have to get to compete with, the Milwaukee's of the world, Miami and Philadelphia. There's a lot of teams in that Eastern Conference that are very, very tough. I don't feel like Indiana's there. They don't necessarily have the star power, but they have pretty good depth overall. They also have a nice collection of younger players. I'm kind of curious to see what happens with Miles Turner this offseason. It feels like the last couple of years he's been rumored several times to get traded in a lot of different trade packages. So who knows if they're going to even do that? But that is something that needs to be on the back of our mind. What's Miles Turner's future, and where do the Indiana Pacers decide to go from here? Now, the next team I have is the Portland Trailblazers. They have $20 million in projected cap space. Making that move for Jeremy Grant was one that they felt was necessary. When you look at Jeremy Grant and what he can bring to Portland, this is a guy that can score the basketball, he can defend, and he fits along and really complements Damian Lillard. They were deeming that CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard was not going to work out long term. Obviously, that's why they made the decision to move on, and they were able to, definitely reshape their roster. Now, I think that's going to continue here. Getting the explosive young guard and Shaden Sharp in the draft was a big one for me. The 2023 number one overall high school recruit obviously reclassifies. He's able to, enter his name in the draft this year, and he was the biggest unknown commodity heading into the season. I think that we don't know exactly what he's going to be as a player. It's very hard at the high school level to really, pick out and try to figure out how talented a player is based on the competition. Every high school conference is different. At college, they're a little more of the same talent pool across the entire NCAA, but at the high school level, it's very, very tough to see. However, Shaden Sharp's athleticism is off the charts, and this is a guy that could score the basketball at will. So I think that Portland made a really good decision in selecting him, and they got $20 million to play with this offseason. And then you have the San Antonio Spurs with $18 million at their disposal. This is a Spurs team that's kind of, in limbo. They're trying to figure out really what they are as well. They're a team that very well could try to make a push into the postseason, or are they going to be a team that takes a longer term approach? When you have Greg Popovich, it's very, very tough to, go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and, just kind of play it out and rebuild. They just don't really have that time frame. So are they going to be super aggressive in the offseason? Are they going to take in a bad contract, pick up some more assets? I'm not exactly sure. Jakob Poeltl's name's been floated around several times in the trade rumor. So I'm kind of curious to see, does Jakob Poeltl get moved? What's the future of Lonnie Walker there? Devin Vassell's a guy I truly believe in as well. I think Vassell could take a huge jump this upcoming season and very well could be one of those players that we're like, wow, we should definitely be paying more attention to him. Keldon Johnson's another guy that's really been put more on the national stage, and people are starting to really realize how good he is. DeJounte Murray also had an awesome season last year, and that's something that is noteworthy. So looking at the $18 million, that's a big deal for the San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion. There's a lot to be excited about with these teams, with the projected cap space that they have. Now, if you kind of look at it, which of these teams are going to be the most aggressive? I think that's a great, prompt that we have to ask ourselves. Which of these teams will really make that aggressive move? Who's going to be the team that just takes the salary dumps? Who's going to be the teams that, really try to make a push with some signings? I think Portland of that group is going to be the most aggressive, in my opinion, in terms of trying to add talent, trying to really, contend. And I think part of it shows when you look at the Jeremy Grant trade. You already have Damian Lillard, who's an aging star that you're really trying to provide as much help with as you can, long as you still have him, at the bat, at his current age. And I think that they're going to be a team that's super, super aggressive. They're going to, probably send out future assets to go ahead and try to compete this year. So I think we have to watch for Portland as being that team that's going to be mega aggressive in terms of that. And a team I think that's going to more so take the longer term approach to this. I feel like that's going to be Detroit, that they're going to be looking at it from the standpoint of, we built a really, really good nucleus around the two stars in Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. So I look at it as being an opportunity for them to take in more bad contracts and go ahead and build that way. pick up a couple of second rounders, maybe package them for first. Who really knows exactly what that could look like for Detroit? But that's something we do have to keep in the back of our minds here as NBA fans. I think that all these teams are definitely going to use that cap space to one degree or another, but it really depends on how will they utilize that space. So thanks again for stopping by. Really appreciate all the support on our videos. Had a lot of fun going through the top 5 teams in terms of salary cap space. There's a lot of teams that don't have money, but these are the fortunate teams that do. So thanks again for stopping by, and we will catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.